Yesterday, we are living in a time of majestic athletic mastery, okay? Simone Biles, Serena Williams, Tom Brady, LeBron James, and this baseball beast who has mastered the game in such a way that yesterday he makes a number matter. He makes two numbers matter again. Steroids destroyed all the numbers. Baseball lost all of its historic greatness around numbers, and yesterday that was not so because all of us are watching that happen to the Marlins. So when I say it's the first time since 1901, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 2 stolen bases in the middle of the game, and then he started topping that with a 6 for 6, there was also something else that happened yesterday that was historic and has never happened before. 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 2 stolen bases, and a Marlins crowd. And a crowd at a Marlins game that Billy paid $27, and how good were the seats that you got for $27?
They're decent. They were like, I mean, there's a whole thing. I'd say they were row 8, but then there's like a whole alphabetical aspect to the situation where there's like the double A row, and then there's like the A row. So like they're pretty good. They were like right by first base. We picked that first base side because he's a left-handed hitter, so I could see the trajectory of the ball should it go out. The game was so crazy, Dan. Like, you're listing all the things that he did. 6 for 6, 3 home runs, 10 RBI, 2 stolen bases, right? I was just hoping for 2 home runs and 1 stolen base, which I was like, this is reaching. But here's the thing about the game, right? He could have had 4 home runs because his first double hit the wall. He could have hit for the cycle because he got thrown out going to third base, which he had no business doing. Also, that first stolen base of the 2, he was out by 10 feet in just a terrible tag attempt, and he was able to sneak by. But the 50-50, which you've never seen before, he did in the same game. He got his 50th stolen base and his 50th home run in the same game, and his 51st stolen base and his 51st home run in the same game. It was an insane game to be at.
Can we
totally crazy? Dan.
Can we just argue
That's
that
not.
Billy spent $27 to watch the single greatest game an individual has played in our lifetime? We can agree on that, correct? Like, none of us have ever seen a better baseball game played by an individual than the one that was played yesterday.
I don't want to be this guy so quickly, but the third home run was against a middle infielder.
It was so far. That home run was so far.
That was ridiculous.
They said it was like 440. BS. There's no chance that went 440. By the way, let me share you a stat. I don't know if we have a stat today, whatever. I don't know if it's sponsored. So here's a stat courtesy of OptaStats, okay? Since RBI became an official stat in 1920, only one MLB player has had, over the course of his entire career, same game or not, a game with 10-plus RBI, a game with 6-plus hits, a game with 5-plus extra base hits, a game with 3-plus home runs, and a game with 2 stolen bases. That one player is Shohei Ohtani. He did it all in one game. That's over the span of a career. There's never a person that has done all of that, and he did it in one game.
When you talk about bones to pick, Billy, because I believe the sports media feeds on bones to pick, and it is something.
He was a leadoff hitter yesterday. He had 10 RBI, Dan. A leadoff hitter had 10 runs batted in. How does that happen? The Dodgers are stacked.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
A 7, 8, and 9 getting on enough for the number 1 to drive you in 10 times is crazy. And I don't know if a lot of people know this. Here's another fun stat. The leadoff hitter hits first. So when he has his first at-bat, there's no one on base to be driven in. So he couldn't do that in his first at-bat.
You generally
So his
don't,
10 RBI happened from 2 to 6 at-bats. And here's another thing. Normally, you don't get 6 at-bats in a game. That's not a thing that happens. The guy was almost 3/4 of the way to the cycle in the 3rd inning had he gotten to third base and not be thrown out.
The reason that he got 6 at-bats is because he's the leadoff hitter and they can't get him out. And so he gets 6 at-bats because he's always on base, having the most ridiculous game any of us have ever seen. But I will say again, you've heard me lament around here for a long time that the sports debate culture and the internet in general have made it corrosive to try and celebrate greatness. We are in an era of undisputed athletic mastery. And so Skip Schumacher yesterday, and I want to read lips here. We're going to do this with Aaron Rodgers in a little bit, but I want you to read the lips of Skip Schumacher here. He's down 11-3 in the seventh, and there are runners on second and third and 2 outs. And, of course, the play here is to walk Ohtani. You have to walk Ohtani. There's no reason to pitch to him here, but the reason he pitches to him here is because they're 40 games under. Schumacher is in the middle of this mess. He's got a contract that allows him to get out after this year because he's a lame duck manager because they saddled him with a bunch of garbage this year. And here he is in the dugout, and read his lips here on walking him. He just says, bleep that. I have too much respect for this guy to walk him in this spot. And he explained that after the game with more words, but the amount of respect I know that, pardon my take, does football guys. Mike Zimmer's a football guy. Schumacher's a baseball guy. When a baseball guy is in the dugout saying, I'm going to get my head clubbed in here, but I'm going to choose it because of how much I respect this guy. Listen to Schumacher talking about this after the game.
I think that's a bad move, baseball-wise, karma-wise, baseball god-wise. You go after him and see if you can get him out. And I think out of respect for the game, we're going to go after him. He hit the home run. I mean, that's just part of the deal. He's hit 50 of them. He's the most talented player I've ever seen. He is doing things that I've never seen done before in the game. And if he has a couple more of these peak years, he might be the best ever to play the game. So I just, as a fan, I wish I was in the stands, not in the dugout seeing it. But it's, I'm proud of like the guys that were attacking him and not scared of him.
This is going to be an unpopular opinion here, and I think I can understand the pushback that I'm going to get for this. I think Skip should be manager of the year. I don't think there's any doubting that Skip Schumacher should be manager of the year for not walking Shohei in that spot. Because that damn Aaron Boone intentionally walked Miguel Cabrera when I went to see that 3,000 hit and delayed my trip to Detroit 3 days unnecessarily. And you know what Skip said? He said, I'm not going to anger the baseball gods. I know this moment. I'm not going to intentionally walk him. I respect him too much. And this man, in that moment, when he could have been petty and he could have said, you know what? I've gone through it this year with this team. We're going to lose 100-plus games, it appears. I'm not going to give him this moment. He said, no. For the best thing in baseball and the best thing here for this fan base, I am going to pitch to him.
With a middle infielder.
Excuse me. Be it a middle reliever or be it an infielder later in the game, I am going to give him his pitches, and he is going to be great on my watch. I'm not giving him that free bag. He could have done it. He could have done it, Dan. And you know what would have happened had he done that? He would have denied us the 10 RBI. He may have denied us. Well, he would have definitely denied us one of the home runs. He may have denied the 50-50, and you never know. You never know what happens.